Good morning, noon, and welcome to Surviving El Chapo, episode 4, season 2. I am your host, Sha Ill, for this reaction. Hope everyone's doing lovely out there. Trust and believe, it could be worse. So I'm hoping everybody's having a good day. Today is a good day. Much love and salutes. It's a real one's birthday today. Salutes to Aubrey Estelle, and happy birthday to my double-digit fidget. She's out there getting it in right now, having her birthday school day. Salutes to everyone else. And here we are, Surviving El Chapo Season 2, Episode 4. A couple housekeeping things. We got $2 text-to-speech, $5 text-to-speech plus media, meaning for a $2 donation, you can have your message interrupt me in the middle of my show and say what you please. It would look like this and sound like this.
What the F is going on here?
Test user sent $50 test message.
So we got that. Also, we got $5 text to speech and media, meaning you could put a YouTube link in and it will send me a video to react to in the middle of my reaction. So those two options are open. If you have yet to hit the subscribe button, please do. Hit the like, hit the notification bells, all that good stuff so we can keep this channel moving forward. Again, as promised, I know y'all think that I might have, talked a good game in the community post and didn't bring it, but I always bring it. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Central Time, my review of Cartel Wives will begin right here on this channel. So stick around for that. You turn your notification bells on so you get the notification so that you guys can check out Cartel Wives. I've already gotten into the first 2 chapters. Interesting to say the least. And with that said, smoke them if you got them. Hope you're having a good day. If you're on your lunch, salutes. If you're at the job getting through the day, salutes to you. Thanks for choosing me. For those that catch this replay and go in and out, please hit the like and subscribe button. Salutes to Old Soul in the chat. And let's get to it. Surviving El Chapo, episode 4. This is the politics of prison. Here we go.
We had problems that people just didn't understand us. We didn't fit what they expected or what they assumed what a real gangster, a real whatever the case is in their head should look like.
Okay.
And I always said, I'm not a gangster. I always said, if a gangster could never be a hustler. A gangster could never be a businessman because they have that mentality and that will never work. That's why there's so many failed.
I'd argue that in your business, a businessman can't be a businessman too long without a gangster, because eventually a gangster's gonna come try to knock you down.
Hustlers or drug dealers or businessmen in prison. You try to pick up 2 things that are never gonna work.
Hey, it's 50 Cent.
And I'm Charlie Webster.
This is Surviving El Chapo, the twins who brought down a drug lord. Season 2. Now on their own in prisons at opposite ends of the country, after the billboard incident, the Flores twins had to learn to be independent of one another.
What was it like being separated from Pete?
It was one of the most difficult times I think I ever had to go through in prison. For a long time, I just wasn't used to it, and I sit there like, man, when am I gonna see my brother again? Not being involved in his life, letting go of the fact that I wasn't gonna have him anymore. And just saying, okay, I have to just try to, I'm gonna do this on my own,
It's all on you, little buddy.
That was like a big step, I think, and it took me years for me to understand that. I didn't have that person next to me, and then you're in prison, right? And I think everyone handles things differently, has a different situation. To me, this was a big deal. I didn't have my twin brother, my person that I was, with before I was born, before I understood anything. And prison's supposed to be hard. I get it, but it did change me in a lot of ways where I felt the depression probably. I felt like I could feel myself just like where something was missing.
Their entire lives, Pete and Jay had one another to rely and depend on. But now, if they were going to survive in prison, they had to learn how to be more like each other.
I had to learn to be on my own and advocate for myself in different ways for all the different things that we were going through in prison. In prison now I'm by myself and you get put in a bunch of different situations where, I just started becoming a little bit more confident, I guess. And then over time, it did make me a little bit stronger. I started to realize how we kind of handicapped each other.
Yeah, you better harden up.
And I started to I had to kind of fill in the part that was missing, I guess, on my own.
Listen, for two small guys, they was always together. You know what I'm saying? As far as they were concerned, they made a 9-foot man. As far as they're concerned, one had the other one's wit and the other one had the other one's tenacity, and that was the combo. Now they feeling like half a man out there. Now you feeling like one dude. You better puff your chest out and, get it together, because now you by yourself, all by your lonesome.
And the part that he kind of brought on. It took learning. It took, I had to kind of fill in the part that was missing, I guess, on my own. And the part that he kind of brought on. It took learning. It took, just learning and really thinking about what that was. And for instance, my brother's negativity. I couldn't always be so positive. Now I had to kind of adjust and be more like him. What would Pete think about? In any situation, but I started to realize different things as well. Was that being with my brother for so long and us going through the same hardships or life lessons or life made us understand a lot of things in the same way, even though we had different views. We were able to communicate in a way where we just look at each other and be like, we understood each other, that was fine. And I started to realize people would be lost sometimes talking to me. What did you say?
So you've even got to relearn how to communicate in a way.
As we've said before in this podcast, and as I'm sure you've noticed, the brothers sometimes talk as one. Even now, after all this time apart, they still finish each other's sentences and know exactly what the other is thinking. Many twins feel like they have some kind of telepathic ability or sixth sense between themselves and their sibling, so you can imagine what it must have been like for Pete and Jay. Jay had to learn how to communicate on his own pretty quickly, because if he didn't, it was going to cause trouble.
You think that you go to prison, it's going to be different, right? You're going to get away from that life. And you're going to be around, it's supposed to make a difference. And
prison is designed to make you a better criminal, especially if you're slick and witty. Prison's designed to make you a better criminal. There's no rehabilitation in prison. There's no corrections, none of that shit.
Here I am, transferred to a new prison, and I get put in a cell. I was supposed to be alone, and then they came oh, you're gonna have a cellie. Make room. He should be here any minute. When he gets there, I look, and I'm like, oh my God, I know you. And he tells me, you know me? I'm like, yeah. You're the Arellano brother.
The Arellano cartel, also known as the Tijuana cartel, was at the time one of the Sinaloa cartel's biggest rivals. They attempted to assassinate El Chapo and Mayo multiple times. The Arellano brothers founded and led the Arellano cartel, and Jay's new cellmate was the youngest of the brothers, Francisco Arellano.
And he looked at me, he was like, then you do know me.
And you're not supposed to know each other.
We're not supposed to know each other, but I mean, we're, and here we are being Sally's, and I used to, when we started talking a little bit, I'm like, wow, look at us. We're here in this, we're in this cell together, and if you knew anything about me before, when we were in Mexico, you would have had no problem just
sending a squad
killing
up.
me.
Yep.
And here we are. And we always would laugh about those kind of things.
He'd have smoked
and
you outside.
It was funny to him because he never met someone who spoke English who and that knew a lot of the same people he knew. And here I am with Chapo's biggest rival, the head of the Arellano cartel, being my celly and turning into this friend of mine. And it was training for him because he didn't understand the culture, right? The politics of prison. So there was a lot of times where I had to kind of just use my influence to be like, okay, stop, hold on. He doesn't know any better just because it's prison. And yeah, it was, we'll share stories and we just got really close. I think that people would be taken back, hold on, did he just say the Arellano brother? Yes. Arellano brother who swore, they were sworn enemies for the Sinaloa cartel for Chapo Mayo. And I wasn't, to me, I wasn't invested in those type of politics, but me being part of the cartel.
Of course, but if you were still in the cartel, they're going to hold you to that. Y'all don't got your own separate set of rules. You know what I'm saying? That life is ruled by the gun, and that's the part y'all ain't figure out. I mean, y'all figured it out to the sense that you went to the feds as a bulletproof vest, but you know what I'm saying? This game, because y'all think the Fed game too. I hope y'all put some money away, because y'all think the Fed game is y'all make the rules too. Nah, they're gonna keep putting y'all ass in jail. You keep playing games.
Sure.
Did he know who you were?
You know
he did
what?
by the end.
I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up at first.
Wait a minute. So how long y'all
in those type of politics? But me
have this
being
conversation before you.
Arellano brother who swore, they were sworn enemies for the Sinaloa cartel for Chapo Mayo. And I wasn't to me, I wasn't invested in those type of politics, but me being part of the cartel for sure.
Absolutely.
Did he know who you were?
You know
he did
what?
by the end.
I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up at first. It was just early on. So as I started to kind of talk to him, he would kind of look at me, and maybe 2-3 years into me being with him a lot, and I think I would share stories, light stories about Mexico, but never really you don't want to seem like you're bragging.
See, that's the part I don't understand about all of this. How you in there 2-3 years and dude don't figure out, oh, this is one of them pipeline twins that had the whole, operation set up. 2-3 years, all that witness protection, all that hiding your name worked in jail with your celly that you knew exactly who he was when he came through the door. But it's 3 years and he don't know who you are. He ain't put it together. That shit sounds crazy to me.
And one time he told me, hey, twin, they say that you used to do this and do that for Chapo Mayo, but he knew. I used to tell him that I knew them and I knew certain people, and he was just for the longest time I just never believed you, and it bothered me that I thought you were full of shit. He's real honest. He said, and I don't know if I still believe you, but I'm starting to kind of understand. He was more curious about the way I was raised and where I come from to how I made it there.
Yeah.
And I guess that's everyone's curiosity. The good thing is that, he's a family man. I was a family man, so we were kind of there for each other. And through hard times, I was there when his brother was murdered, and I was there for him as well. So it was like one of those things where he would always be like, I never met someone like you, like, that you could just be honest and just open.
You had a fucking love affair.
He would be like, I don't think it's a good idea for you to have pictures of your family, like, especially not of your wife, because then you have different people come in and they're like looking at your family. And I used to be like,
Yep.
they're gonna look anyway. Like,
see, that's
it's
what
okay.
I'm saying. Like, y'all think y'all had your own rules until the shit come and strike you. You know what I'm saying? You get told not to play with the snake until the snake strike you, and then you're like, damn, I should have never played with the snake. Like, bruh, dude telling you they're gonna look at your pictures, and you're like, because you need it so bad. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's just like opening the vault and showing everybody what you got all the time and driving around in Bentleys and shit. You in the joint with a dude that evidently knows what's popping, and he tell you, hey, man, having your pictures up is not a good look because people come in the cell, they look at your pictures. And him thinking, people put 2 and 2 together, they could put your people in danger, all kind of shit. And these guys is like, whatever, as long as they got their security blanket, they're cool. That picture's their security blanket at that moment. It's like that businessman shit didn't serve you well in that situation.
Hey, like, I don't think it's a good idea for you to have pictures of your family, like, especially not of your wife, because then you have different people come in and they're like looking at your family. And I used to be like, they're gonna look anyway. Like, it's okay. Just bringing him up to like culture, and I always trying to show him things. And he picked up, because of me, he picked up starting to play basketball. So we used to love playing basketball.
Basketball. He told you to protect your family.
It's
you
okay.
taught him how to play basketball. Get the fuck out of here.
Just bringing him up to like culture, and I always trying to show him things. And he picked up, because of me, he picked up starting to play basketball. So we.
Diamond District in the chat say, you think honestly they didn't know who they were? Ariano Felix brothers is the true bosses. I mean, it's possible they didn't know who he was. Like, bosses is bosses for a reason. Bosses don't know who's working in the mailroom. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. But to me, 3 years is a long time for that revelation not to come out. At least to the Ariano brother, that he still didn't know who dude was, Jay knew who he was, but he didn't know who dude was.
He used to love playing basketball. He's a great athlete for sure, soccer player. He actually made me play soccer, and I never played soccer. I remember even when I started playing chess when I got there, he gave me this motivation because I just had started playing chess, and I would get aggravated because, I wasn't good. And I remember he told me, he said, hey, twin, I know if you put your mind to this, he said, no one will beat you. And when he said that, he kind of sparked something in me. And I was like, wow, he's right. And I think for 5 years, I dedicated myself to chess and learning it and just taking it all in and understanding my mistakes. And I would just, I dedicate a lot of time to it.
And that is the game for that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm wondering, did you ever learn from a mistake? Because I keep hearing the same mistakes being made.
Sammy the Bull was one of the first ones I sat there, and he was like, this piece does this,
Yep, you heard that right. Sammy the Bull.
The
The same
inspiration
Sammy
for
the
it
Bull,
all.
whose cooperation against mafia boss John Gotti was the
Sammy
very...
the Bull.
He was like, this piece does this,
Yep, you heard that right. Sammy the Bull. The same Sammy the Bull, whose cooperation against mafia boss John Gotti was the very thing that inspired Jay to convince his brother to turn their lives around and cooperate in the first place.
So he'd sit you down and show you each
Yeah, this
what everything
yeah.
meant, which you
And he loved the game of chess too.
It may seem far-fetched, But both Jay and Pete ended up spending time with Sammy the Bull in prison. Pete would later spend years as Sammy the Bull's cellmate. Sammy the Bull even tried to extort Pete at one point.
So I'm with cartel figures, a lot of big major ones. I'm with Italian bosses. Sammy the Bull. You know, one of the persons that kind of planted the seed in my head of, you know, was going to kind of dictate the, you know, my life, right? And my decision, in a way.
And then you ended up in prison with him.
It's
really ironic.
Yes.
Rat trap.
He was a good friend of mine. He was able to teach me, and I would learn. You know, I learned how to play board games in prison. I grew up differently. I never played board games. I never knew how to play a card game. I used to use the chess analogies, and I didn't even know what it meant, to be honest. Life is like a game of chess. Until I started playing, I said, oh, shit, life is like a game of chess. Real consequences.
Have you ever seriously pissed off your my in-laws? Well,
and why should identity theft?
Who want to know more?
Playing chess is very common in prison. It helps build critical thinking skills, as well as strategy and patience. It's so popular that there are international chess tournaments for prisoners. Both Pete and Jay became passionate chess players. They even showed off their chess skills to me while we were all in the safe house. Chess also helps to keep prisoners' minds occupied. But there's more to do in prison than just play chess. Being apart meant the twins were able to find their own voices. Pete took every class available and even led his own Bible study class after he found God.
Oh, there you go.
No, I participated in every educational program.
There you go. We find some way to forgive ourselves as humans. Huh? We find some way to clean ourselves of all of the dirt we did and all of the people that we destroyed. And we cleaned it up, and then boom, Jesus come and wipe it all away.
Like every program you think of, I participated in. And I have certificates, like, you know, 1,000 certificates and classes I took and things I did. And not only did I do that, I helped, you know, teach classes. I took courses to help tutor and, you know, and do, you know, ESL, like English classes and all kinds of stuff I did. I ran the Bible study for years. I did all that.
Can you tell us some of the courses that you took?
HVAC, you know, CDL thing, you know, real estate classes, psychology classes, mental health preparation,
Whole bunch of stuff you could have made bread with outside.
Crocheting, leather crafts, parenting, I mean, carpentry, whatever they offered, you know, I was participating. And it didn't feel like a waste of time, you know? It was, you know, I like to learn new things.
Jay also started his own class, but it wasn't a Bible study. He created a self-help class with his own curriculum.
I decided to start teaching like
a hustler's university. This is how you do the routes. This is how you collect money. This is how you keep them separate. This is how you strategize against your, and this is how you shop. And this dude was on it, boy.
Self-help class on strengthening your thoughts and your mind and the way you think.
Help yourself to some money.
Your mindset and how you perceive and how you look at things. And I asked for permission to teach a class. You have to go through the whole, like, fill out paperwork. I had to do a curriculum. I had to do all that. And I was surprised when I actually would ask people, like, listen, I'm going to do a class. Like, next thing you know, I'm like having 60 people.
And there was another class he had a hand, or maybe I should say foot, in getting started.
So there's a guy in prison, older man, Puerto Rican man. He was always moving, and he's balding me, and always, like, I see him step, like he might be like, hey, and just come in dancing and look really, like a smooth, like, nice. And I was like, his name was Joe. I said, hey, Joe, would you teach me how to dance salsa?
Jesus.
And he's like, sure, I'll teach you. He thought about it first, like, I'm like, but I'm stiff. You want to learn? I said, what do you want to learn? He said, I will teach you.
That's the only class that Peter missed out on. Or the only class that Jay missed out on. No. Vice versa. It's the only class that Peter missed out on that Jay got. Jay took all the classes. Parenting, carpentry, leatherworks, all of that shit. But he didn't get the salsa class. Jay got the salsa class.
I'm a teacher. So he like, and he thinks I'm playing. Like, he thinks like, yeah, let me know. I'm like, no, okay. And I wouldn't tell anyone. Because I knew I was going to hear it. So we go and we had MP3 players and we would like, they would make these wires that you could hook up to like a radio or a TV and, you know, to play the sound. And so I had to kind of make arrangements so that everybody else could, like, if there was a speaker going and it was a workout time, so I could kind of be like, hey, let me play this music. You know, like, could you lower it? Could you put on your headphones? You know? Like, I had to extra favors for it in order to happen. And sure enough, he started teaching me how to dance. At first, it was kind of like, you know, it was a little bit, I was more nervous about being able to do it. And of course, we're in prison. There's a bunch of dudes like, so who's the girl? And, you know, and at first it was like constant. And at first, like, you better not let a guard see you guys doing this. But we have cameras. But then the guards would come in and be like, are you guys serious? And there he goes, grabbing me by the hip and be like, move your hip, whatever the case is. And I'm always been sure of myself. And next thing you know, the jokes, they started giving up just like they always do. And next thing you know, they're putting up chairs looking, and they're like, well, let me try.
Next thing you know, you got the craze that you got in the joints right now. If you see all these TikTok videos, everybody's doing flips and shit.
So it became a dance class. The only thing that some guys, even you know, some guys got it fast. Let me tell you, it took me 6-7 months to learn one song. Next thing you know, sometimes I'll show up late and there's other guys and like, I'll be like, hey, hold on. That's me. My class. And thank my teacher, one of the nicest oldest men from Philly. And he really, you know, really nice guy. And he was patient with me and be like, come on. And he'd be like, spin. And whatever the case is. And I always make fun of him because I'd be like, well, how do you know, in the beginning, but how do you touch her? How do you grab her? And he'd be like,
bro, we got a whole
firm
chapter on salsa dance.
She had a big butt, so I'll be like this? And he'd be like, hey.
What?
The case is, and I always make fun of him because I'd be like, well, how do you know, in the beginning, but how do you touch her? How do you grab her? And he'd be like, you grab her firm. She had a big butt, so I'll be like this? And he'd be like, hey, I'm not your wife. Be like, you know, whatever the case. So it was a fun time, but it was 6 months. And I had to do a lot of things to actually put that together because we're in the visiting room, we're in prison. I had to get the right guard that knew me. And, you know, when they know that you're there to do your time and like not to cause trouble and you help, like, they respect that. They're not gonna give you a hard time. So, you know, me taking my MP3 to the visiting room was like, it's contraband, like, you can't do that. And me putting the picture up, you imagine walk into a visiting room and there's a picture of a woman. It's not like it's just her in a wedding dress. It's Valerie's type of wedding dress. Yeah. You know, and you're lucky you didn't say breach of security. Yeah.
I love how Valerie put your head in your hands.
So we planned it out.
Those no-cut Versace dresses.
And we planned it out. And I put on my MP3. I already had a playlist.
I walked in on my kids, and it was our anniversary. And he had somebody do this big painting, and they put it up on the wall of me, in my wedding picture.
Like
my wedding photo.
These dudes they really sucker for love, boy, because they didn't learn no billboard lessons, none of that shit. They went from billboard lessons to oil paintings and shit. Wildin'.
There's a television in the visiting room, so they allowed him to plug up his MP3 player. So he put on this Mark Anthony song, and it was salsa. And Jay didn't know how to dance salsa at all. when he put out my hand, my kids were just giggling. They were laughing. My daughters, my sons, they were laughing.
And that's
They were
cute, I
cracking
guess.
up.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get a moment with your family, but I don't want to hear shit when they put you in the hole about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that they were picking on you when you was making your own rules around this bitch.
And he took me to dance, and the way he was leading me and the way he was dancing, like, I felt like I couldn't even keep up with him. Like, he was that good. Like, he was practicing for like a year.
And then at first she was like, "What are you doing?" And she was getting red.
I'm so embarrassed.
And then we just danced.
He danced. I just followed because I was trying to keep up. Because he was like,
So
professional.
we played
for
a
sure.
Mark Anthony.
Can you remember what the song's called?
It was Tu amor me hace bien.
Don't do it.
Does it bring back memory?
Super,
Yeah.
like, confident. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, boss.
I was, and he told me, "Don't ever take your eyes off of her."
And he wouldn't. And it was like, the more he stared,
and my kids,
I was so embarrassed.
my
Like,
kids were
it's
laughing.
not happening.
My kids were laughing, and
They were
They were-
cracking
they were-
up. They were so
they were
happy.
happy.
They were like, wow.
after I played our wedding song,
Bro, they're
And
running
that's
out
when
of
the tears
material
came.
on this podcast.
I did get in trouble one day
There you go.
for going overboard. It was for Valentine's Day. I decided to make Val. They used to do crochet, like teddy bears, and I put like a teddy bear with a red heart with J on it. I made the biggest picture of Val, and I actually had them like airbrush a background for Valentine's Day, not just for me but for everyone. And I filled up the visiting room with origami flowers and vases.
A dozen of flowers
So
on every
table for everyone. I'm thinking it's Valentine's Day, it's gonna show up. And yeah, they thought it was cute. They thought it was nice. They let me enjoy it.
And then they
They
smashed
let me
you
like,
for it.
okay. And then
After that,
I got it for that.
yeah, for sure.
You know,
After
I
that,
can't. I'm not gonna go snitch on how he did it. You know, like at the time, but the cops like, who the fuck do you think you are? And how did you do that? How'd you manage to pull that off? I'm like, just happened.
You should have been that quiet about how your brother pulled off the billboards and you got sent to New York.
They're like, all right, you know what else just happened? Your room is being shooken down, and I hope you don't have anything you have in there that's contraband. You're gonna answer that. And I went to my room. There was like 2 COs in my room just tearing it up. And one of them was a nice CO that I knew that I didn't have to worry about, but one of them wasn't. And they gave me like 5 different shots for like different contraband. As a matter of fact, they want to put me in the shoe. And thank God I had good prison attorneys. And we beat those charges.
Jay wasn't the only romantic one. Pete sent Viv flowers every Wednesday for the entire time he was in prison. And he learned yet another skill.
he played the guitar. He taught himself how to play the guitar.
One song.
And one song, and
you want this to be a battle?
And he played it. And he played the guitar and sang me the song on the phone. And then
Did one of the brothers just say, "Do you want this to be a battle?" Like, bruh, them two should just scrap. They don't like each other no more. You can say what you want. Chat can say what they want. Comments can say what they want. They might love each other, but these dudes do not like each other no more.
on Grains of Rice, he wrote down all the lyrics of the song.
On
a grain of rice, he wrote every single lyric, every word in the song on a grain of rice.
How many grains of rice was that?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
What song was it?
It took months to do that.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
It was Brian Adams. So the theme song to Braveheart.
Was it Robin Hood?
Robin Hood or Braveheart?
Yeah.
Everything I do?
Everything I do.
Yes,
I do it for you.
Thank you, Jay.
It's a battle. One learn how to dance salsa, the other learn to Song on the guitar. All right, we're a little bit more than halfway through the episode. Salutes to y'all for being here. Salutes Soul Soul. Salutes Diamond District for your engagement. Salutes everybody else that's watching. Please hit the subscribe, hit the like button. And let's finish this off. Here we go.
Have you ever seen Got Away
These
with
dudes
Murder?
doing salsa dancing and guitar.
And my in-laws? Well,
For ChumbaCasino.com.
It's My Little Technique, or TM, is an evidence-based transcendental meditation instructor at tm.org and take the first step towards a happier, healthier life.
Another waste of an episode.
In the movies, you often get the perception that prison is survival of the fittest.
Salutes to Think Like a Kingpin. You ain't never been in love. I guess not, bruh. There's only so much I'm willing to risk for love, bruh. Straight up.
Hardened criminals all fighting to be the top dog.
God damn, boy. They were some
In the
romantics,
movies, you
I'll tell
often get
that.
the perception that prison is survival of the fittest. Hardened criminals all fighting to be the top dog. In many ways, it mirrors the power dynamic of the cartel. But there's another side that we don't get to see or hear about as much. One that's full of salsa classes, Bible study, and even extravagant gestures like writing song lyrics on grains of rice. For Pete, it was his love for Viv that kept him going, especially as the struggle of prison life really started to take its toll.
You know, I was transferred. I got into some more trouble, and, you know, they follows you everywhere you go. And they put me in a place where they're like, okay, and they targeted me. You know, it was like constant, like personal vendetta to show you who's in charge. And it was just overwhelming at times. They would literally like shake down my cell every other day. You know, and they'll count my pictures, like you can't have more than 25. And, you know, and the visits were horrible. It went from me being able to sit next to my family to them saying, we're going to sit across from each other like this. Don't get up your chair. Don't look somewhere. Don't do nothing.
I mean,
you know, and I was like,
listen,
okay.
that's just a rule of life right there. You keep fucking thumbing your finger in these people's face and you know, doing things your way. They're going to put the shackles on your feet, shackles on your hand, and have you sitting at that table. It's just the way it is. Salutes to Think Like a Kingpin in the chat. Love conquers all. I wish it were true, bro. I'm sure it is true, but man, this world's in need of love right now, cause ain't none.
Can't touch my kid? Like, no. You're gonna sit in front of each other, you're gonna talk, and that's it. And they would cancel my visit quick. Like, oh, we have a bunch of people are expected to visit this week, so you cannot go out because you're the one that gets the most visits. And then the people wouldn't show up. I'm like, can I have my wife come? No one's coming. No.
The twins were under intense protection because they were such a valuable asset to the government, which meant the security surrounding visits was tight. They had to vet all visitors when they arrived in case of any association to them. Because of this, family visits were often ended abruptly or just stopped altogether.
Then you go and they'll be like, well, there's another visitor coming in. You gotta get up. I gotta get off my chair, go to the back.
And it's not just an inconvenience for Peter J being inside. It's an inconvenience for Vivi. It's an inconvenience for Val, the kids. You know, to go that far, to take those lengths to get around, to end up going there for a visit, for them to cancel your visit, just boom, multiple times out the blue. It's just crazy. Let's see, you got to Think Like a Kingpin in the chat. When your family got your back, and I mean really got your back, you do anything to show your love and appreciation. It's hard just to stop being a lawbreaker when that's all you know. It's taking a long, long time trying to change your ways. I agree. You know, there's things that you're gonna have to that people have to live with. Decisions that we make that we gotta live with for the rest of our life. That don't get no better. But at all times, we got to be honest with ourselves and not sugarcoat shit. You know what I'm saying? But I agree. When your family got your back, you know, you show your love and your appreciation. What you don't do is thumb it in the government's face so that they could ruin your visits the way they ruin your visits right now. But salutes. I appreciate your engagement in the chat. Much love. Salutes.
And look out, two-way window, like a two-way mirror, and look at the new visitors coming in, and okay them, clear them, okay, like I don't have no problems with them. I'm like, they're not trying to kill me. I'm not gonna have
To check who they were
who they
in case they recognized you.
Yeah. So then I have to. I'm good, but they'll take their time. And sometimes it was like constant. And it was like, I'm just trying to get through my visit, and it was just so much for me. Like,
that's a weird little system there too. Cause how about it's a dude that you don't know what he looks like. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who he is. He don't look like nothing. He come in there for the specific, job of getting you. That's crazy. That they was like, yo, just look through the window and tell us who you got a problem with, who you don't got a problem with. Also in the chat, I believe in love, just not being a sucker for love. There you go. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that you're looking through the window trying to pick and choose, it's like last episode of The Sopranos, you know what I'm saying? Tony didn't know what the dude in the members only jacket, who he was, what he looked like. There was no red flags went off for him, unfortunately.
At this point, the Flores twins had been in prison for 6 years and still didn't know how much longer they would have to stay there.
I wasn't sentenced yet, so it was
how
6
long
years
by this time? 6 years?
At this point, the Flores twins had been in prison for 6 years.
6 years, boy. And that's 6 years of them locked up and 6 years, I guess the women didn't take the witness protection, so that's 6 years of the women being on their own with the families. Salutes to think like a kingpin. Amen. Always have to keep it 100 with yourself. Facts. But yeah, so that's 6 years of everybody being on their own, trying to figure it out.
And still didn't know how much longer they would have to stay there.
I wasn't sentenced yet, so it was 6 years. I'm in prison for 6 years.
Why did it take so long for you actually to get sentenced?
So, I guess, it's part of you agreed to postpone your sentence till the case is kind of finished.
Their first 6 years were spent in limbo because they couldn't be sentenced until El Chapo was arrested. On the 22nd of February 2014, Mexican authorities conducted a series of raids on El Chapo's safe houses, which were protected by reinforced steel. Initially, he was able to escape through a tunnel underneath a hydraulic bathtub. He was tracked to a hotel in Mazatlan, a beachside town on the Pacific coast of Mexico, where he was hiding with his family, a bodyguard, his chef, and his babysitter. 3 minutes after the raid on the hotel began, El Chapo was in custody.
What did it feel like when you knew Chapo was first arrested?
I couldn't believe it myself.
Insert the got him meme right there and shit. Got him.
For real. I was shocked just like everybody else. I remember being shocked and then kind of like first I was like, whoa, this wasn't for nothing. This wasn't for anything. There's gonna be more to this. Instantly, there's gonna be more to this. It's not just me just, here in prison, which was kind of scary at the same time. I was in the visiting room and I was on my visit.
With Viviana and the kids?
And they came in and terminated my visit kind of randomly,
Really?
It's a wrap.
And they asked me.
What did you say? Just
no, at first
what's
when
going on?
they approached 3 SEALs approached and they opened the door and it was me and Viviana. I was like, we were probably the only ones in the small visiting room at the time. They approached me and they say, I'm sorry, but your visit has ended and we need you to come with us. And I was like, what do I do? We're sitting across the table, As soon as I came to the door, she was like,
we got the big dog.
Hey man, they just caught Chapo.
Who said that to you?
The corrections officer. The CO comes and he's like, they just caught Chapo, man.
Did they say it to you like that, though? As in, like, they just got Chapo really kind of nonchalant?
Yeah, like, and, you know, he was like, weird. I was like, man, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, for real. The whole prison's going on lockdown. Like, didn't understand why, but they locked us down. Like, I was escorted straight to my cell, and we were locked down for the next 2 or 3 days. I guess they felt like that the prisoners were like, you know, like getting rowdy. This maximum security prison, you know? So in order to keep it, you know, calm, they just preventive measures, they just locked everyone down. And I remember like being able to watch the news on TV and just like being shocked. Like I never thought they'd catch him alive, you know? You know, it was one of those moments where it was on every channel. Especially like the Spanish news. They interrupted all the broadcasts.
Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán se escapó por segunda vez de un penal de máxima seguridad, ubicado a unos kilómetros de la Ciudad de México.
Un orificio pequeño en su celda y un túnel de 10 metros fue lo que le permitió a El Chapo huir de la prisión El Altiplano.
You know, and then they're showing different parts of the story, and it's weird to see like your face come up in those news, you know, briefs, and when they talk about the case and the magnitude of his, you know, drug dealings and everything he had, you know, done in his whole history, you know, and it was just one of those moments that you just it feels surreal, like I just didn't believe it, you know, and I questioned, you know, what was next for us.
Was this after he got out through the tunnel?
It was just sort of his, you know.
Because how long was that?
You know, it was one of those moments where it was on every channel. And I remember like being able to watch the news on TV and just like being shocked, like I never thought they'd catch him alive, you know?
They caught him.
You know, it was one of those moments where it was on every channel, especially like the Spanish news. They interrupted all the broadcasts.
Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán se escapó por segunda vez de un penal de máxima seguridad, ubicado a unos kilómetros de la Ciudad de México.
Un orificio pequeño en su celda y un túnel de 10 metros fue lo que le permitió a El Chapo huir de la prisión El Altiplano.
This is him getting out through the tunnel in the jail. So I gotta look into that. How long was Chapo locked up before he made it out through that tunnel? I thought the newscast were talking about the tunnel that he got out of the house before they caught him.
You know, and then they're showing different parts of the story, and it's weird to see like your face come up in those news, you know, briefs, and when they talk about the case and the magnitude of his, you know, drug dealings and everything he had, you know, done in his whole history, you know, and it was just one of those moments that you just it feels surreal, like I just didn't believe it, you know, and I questioned, you know, what was next for us. And they moved the sentence, me and my brother, that year after he was captured. They started talking about us getting sentencing like towards the end of the year. I think it was in their point of view that they didn't think that the government was ever going to extradite him. So I guess they felt like, why, you know, keep making us wait. So my sentencing date was set for January 27, 2015. That day I would be, you know, seeing the judge and he would be deciding my fate. And me and my brother were separated. It was going to be the first time I seen him.
I know they was hoping
El Chapo was captured in February.
Some time served sentence, boy, on some On some Sammy the Bull was only gonna get 5 years. Be like, man, we did 6 already. Can we get some time served?
February 2014, but there was no guarantee that the Mexican government would ever extradite him. So the twins' sentencing was arranged for the 27th of January 2015.
So when did you next see each other after that moment?
We seen each other in 2015.
Yeah, so this
January 20.
So this has nothing to do with him getting out the joint through the tunnel. This was after that.
26. We got sent to the 27th? Yeah, January 26, 2015.
So it's kind of like 5 years later.
I remember thinking that we're gonna go get sentenced, and we're nervous for our situation. We're like, it's really a stressful time for us. We've been through so much already. We're like, this is really gonna determine our future. Our wives been waiting so long. The kids, we're thinking that, God willing, we want to go home.
Right.
We want to go home. And plain and simple.
The twins were in separate parts of the country, and they both had to get to Chicago to be sentenced. The government sent a private jet to escort them. Jay was the first one to be picked up, then Pete. They were both shackled for the journey.
The next day, the marshals come, and when they move, when they move someone like my brother and I, they come like with, 15 of their special force, marshals,
right,
or
more
whoever
cautious
their
than y'all
contractors
about
are, like. And they come to get you, and I remember it was very cold. It was snowing, and they ended up driving me like literally 10 minutes away to a little airport. I'm parked in a hangar, and I'm sitting there, and I can hear them talking. I'm shackled. Been in the hole for the last 3 days and not feeling good, I'm nervous. I remember sitting there, and I can hear him saying, Warlock 1 to Warlock 2. We're approaching.
The sentencing would be their first public court appearance since they were taken into custody. Pete and Jay hadn't seen each other for 5 years.
Damn.
They're waiting for the plane to...
I wonder if they were able to correspond from joint to each other somehow. Probably just word of mouth. That's crazy. 5 years. Them billboards cost y'all. The billboards was probably a thing, and they was frustrated about it. But I think they was gonna eventually separate y'all anyway. You know what I'm saying? They just figured that the gig was up. They was gonna separate y'all anyway.
To land. When he kept saying Warlock 1 to Warlock 2, my brother's on the plane. Almost positive sure he's on the plane. I can't ask them. So once the plane, I could see the plane, getting ready to land. We're sitting like in the hangar. I could see the plane approaching the private plane. I know. It's taking forever, like to land, to spin around. But I remember, like, they pull up, and I'm sitting in the truck still, and I see them pull the doors open. And when they tell me come on, I rush out. I remember I'm just looking down, trying to peek over the corner. I just see his gray sweats and his shoes, I knew my brother was sitting there.
Reunited.
Surviving El Chapo, the twins who brought down...
All right, that was episode 4. Shout out Old Soul, Diamond District, and Think Like a Kingpin. Think Like a Kingpin, consider it, man. If you want to watch the finale live together with us on screen, you let me know, man. We'll get to the finale on it. But this episode was basically it's called Prison, The Politics of Prison. Doesn't seem like they had many, well, from what we hear from the story, it didn't sound like they were either willing to get into or had much problems with other inmates. For sure, Think Like a Kingpin, salute. I'm with that. seems like they didn't have much problems, but they had problems with with COs and getting away with the shit that they was trying to get away with. And it's basically another filler episode. We've had 2 of those so far. I believe. Yeah, 2 of those so far. Which was separated in the politics of prison. Filler episode, that's how the game works. But I mean, mind you, the Salsa story was fun. We didn't have to spend however long we spent on it, but it is what it is. Yeah, I wanna hear more about the prison stint, and what they ran into, and if anybody ever came in there and was like, yo, I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And now we got the reunion. The reunion is, okay, now it's time to come get your sentencing, go to court, do all that good stuff. And after 5 years, the brothers get to see each other for the first time. So evidently this next episode 5, which will be next week, Wednesday, we'll cover that. Think Like a Kingpin said, let's do it. And he said, shit, imagine being around all them haters. Shit, I can. They're all out here too. They're not just in there, they're everywhere. But yeah, again, tomorrow, 11 Central Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, my chapter 1 and 2 reaction to Cartel Wives is going to drop right here on this channel. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back next week with Surviving El Chapo episode 5, season 2. And that's pretty much it. With that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you for the engagement. In about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going right back live. I'm going to be doing Uncivilized episode 13, where we clown goofy cops and dumbass criminals. So we'll be doing that for a little while in about 5 or 10 minutes. That being said, I appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you very much. Share, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you want me to react to. Think Like a Kingpin. If you really down to do the finale, we'll do a StreamYard. We can both be on screen. You don't have to show your face. However you want it to work. You know what I'm saying? It could just be audio, whatever. But we can go live and watch the last episode together. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all very much. Have a good day. And join me for Uncivilized in about 10 minutes. All right? Peace.